We are full steam ahead on the fourth special session. Today, lawmakers listened to concerns over border security. House Bill 4 failed to pass during the previous special session as leaders debated the impact that it would have on border communities and the rest of the state. So today, the bill made it out of committee and is heading to the House floor. Our Monica Madden joins us now in the studio to give us some insight. So first, before we get to the hearings today, just give us a breakdown of this bill.
Yeah, Jen. Well, House Bill 4 essentially empowers Texas law enforcement officers to enforce immigration laws. Now, you're probably thinking, isn't that already, somewhat of something that goes on? Yes, but federally. So House Bill 4 would make it a state crime for anyone to cross into the United States from a, quote, foreign nation illegally. Currently, that's a power reserved for federal officers. Texas officers have the ability to arrest migrants if they trespass on private property, but not for, crossing into Texas illegally. So this would give them those new powers, and then those officers could essentially arrest a migrant who, for example, is crossing the Rio Grande River into Texas, and would give them the option. This bill would outline the options for that is those officers could then either arrest those migrants and they would be in Texas state prisons, or they could bring them to an international bridge, a port of entry, and order them to return back to their country of origin, Jen.
Okay, so you've been listening to this hearing all day, a lot of testimony, hours long,
yeah,
you said.
hours.
Yeah. What are you hearing? What are some of the concerns that you're hearing?
There's certainly a lot of strong opinions on this. We heard of a lot of people who were opposed to the bill in committee today, private citizens, some who came just because they felt strongly from border communities, and then also advocacy groups. And a lot of them said that they're concerned that this will lead to racial profiling. Opponents have dubbed it the Show Me Your Papers bill because there's some concerns that because it doesn't apply just to Texas border communities, that hypothetically an officer in Dallas could have, concerns that maybe someone crossed here illegally or is here illegally, and then that officer could arrest that person. So opponents are afraid that then anyone who, looks Hispanic or looks like they are an immigrant and might be here illegally, according to that officer's perception, that they could be arrested. But Representative David Spiller, who's the author of this bill, was answering questions about this in committee and said that specifically they would have to have suspicions that someone crossed illegally. Not that they're here illegally, but crossed illegally. So you can kind of see where it gets a little blurred lines in terms of interpretation and how this might play out. And that was some of the concerns we heard about today.
Okay, and does this bill appear to violate any federal laws like Miranda rights?
Well, I asked Representative Spiller if the law enforcement officers would have to read these migrants their Miranda rights, and he said yes. So that part checks out. But one of the bigger concerns that we have heard from opponents is that this would violate the supremacy clause of the U.S. Constitution. Opponents say that this is not constitutional because it is arresting migrants, and immigration law is a power reserved just for federal agents like Border Patrol. So federal courts have consistently ruled that immigration is a power solely reserved for the federal government. It's up to the United States to decide how to enforce our immigration laws. So this is something that if it becomes law, we are absolutely going to see it challenged, get into the court system. And some Republicans will say that actually is the goal of this bill, is because they feel as though Texas's hands are tied with the immigration problem, and that's why they're wanting our law enforcement officers to have new abilities when it comes to this problem.
Okay, Monica Madden, thanks again for breaking this down for us, and you can find more coverage online at KXAN.com.